Hey there, I am Lauren and welcome to the 24 Threads podcast. Alright, let's just jump right on in with what I am wearing today, and this design I'm so happy with it. This is, I've been calling it the black and white yoke sweater because I don't have a name for it yet, but I have been sharing it with y'all, and I got the sleeves done. I still have my stitch markers. I don't know if you can see them, but I've got my stitch markers in my sleeves so that I can count the rows for the patterns so I know where the decreasing is. And then all I have left to do is the body. You can kind of see how short it is. Super cropped, but all I have left to do is the body. But that's the easy part. The sleeves were the hard part. So that means I will be writing this pattern this week, or at least working on it, and really hoping to do a tester call. Let's see. Today's Monday, so I would hope by Friday I'm doing a tester call, but I'm gonna say the beginning of next week just to be on the safe side. But if you are interested or think you might be interested in testing this sweater, then go ahead and subscribe to my email newsletter. I'll put a link in the description below, so it's super easy to find. But I plan on doing a tester call through that primarily, and this is also for future tester calls. I'm gonna try to choose from my email list first to test my patterns, and then if I don't get enough pattern testers from my emails, I will then put a call on Instagram. So if you want to be in the loop for testing this sweater or any future patterns, definitely go sign up to get on my email newsletter, and then you'll get first notification of tests, and therefore you will also get kind of first dibs on testing a pattern. So moving right along into the whips I have this week, and I guess really more of the whips I've been working on. This sweater is one. I did this whole sleeve, one of the sleeves in about a day. Well, a little over a day, because I just literally yesterday all I did was sit down and work on the sleeve, and then a little bit this afternoon too. And as I'm wearing it, the sleeves are kind of riding up, so I might wait until after I block it to see if I want to go add some length to the sleeves, but I also kind of don't mind it. I prefer a tighter sleeve that is a little higher than my wrist. That way if I have like a watch or bracelets, I can wear it and it not snag, or like if you go wash your hands or something, your sweater's not gonna get wet, because that drives me insane. So I might leave it. I kind of like it, but we'll see, because it'll probably stretch too once I finally block it. So in addition to working on this sweater, I believe it was Wednesday, I posted that I had just an idea pop right into my head, and when that happens, I just run with it. I drop everything else I'm doing, and I at least start on that project, because if I don't, then it's just gonna leave my head and I won't remember it. But here it is in this lovely trash can that I bought at Target in the dollar section several years ago, but it's clean, don't worry. I don't even use it as a trash can. I use it more of like a basket. But it worked great because I used it kind of like a yarn bowl in this situation, because it uses Lion Brand Scarfy, I believe is what we've determined this to be. And if you saw on my Instagram earlier in the week, or last week, I asked if anybody recognized this yarn, because I had purchased it without labels back a couple years ago when I first started crocheting, and I didn't know what it was, but I've had a couple of people reach out and say they think it's Lion Brand Scarfie. I agree, so that's what we're going with. And it matches all the characteristics of the Lion Brand Scarfie on their website. So I had 4 skeins of it, and I was like, I don't know why I bought this. That was, like I said at the beginning of me crocheting, so I just bought yarn if I thought it was pretty. I've stopped doing that, and saves me money, but also I had so much yarn that I didn't know what to do with it, and I gave, I don't know how many bags of yarn to my grandma who crochets hats and blankets. I don't know, she donated like over 100 hats with the yarn I gave her, so I'm glad that it went to good use. But I held on to this yarn because I don't know, I really liked it. And normally I'm not a self-striping yarn kind of person, but I do love some of the patterns I've seen with the self-striping yarn. So this is what I have so far, and this is 2 full skeins and then a little bit into the 3rd skein. So oh, you can really see the stripes. I'm using a ring light today. I haven't used it before. Also, let me know if it looks if it looks cheap and artificial as far as the lighting goes, because I'm still trying to figure that out. But anyways, it is worked from the center around, and I did that because I really don't know how far these 4 skeins are going to stretch. So I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't have to frog anything, to be honest. I don't like frogging if I can avoid it, but this is just the beginning. I am so excited. Actually, I showed y'all the back. It pretty much looks the same off the front, but minus the giant end that needs to be woven in. You can see the seam a little bit, but once I am done with it, you won't be able to notice that anymore, because my plan for this is 1, to put giant tassels on each end, and 2, to do some kind of design using surface crochet. I have a couple ideas in mind. I'm not going to say them yet just because I feel like when I do say something that I have in my head, it doesn't work out how I'm thinking it's going to. So I'm going to let that one be a surprise for a little bit, but it's going to be cool. It's going to it'll hide the seam, and it'll kind of just like be a fun, something different, something kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Once I get through these other 2 skeins, which honestly I can get through 1 skein in about a day if I just do it. If I just sit there and that's all I do, then I can get through a full skein pretty quickly. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I will show it to y'all once I kind of figure out what design I'm gonna crochet on it. And also I do need to buy yarn to put on there. I have some yarn. I'm looking at my yarn stash. It's kind of have a little bit kind of over here, but I have some yarn that I think the color would look really, really good, but I think I have like 8 skeins of it, which would be plenty. However, I'm kind of like, it won't use anywhere near 8 skeins of yarn, so I kind of want to save that yarn for something else, because that I could use 8 skeins for. Yeah, because it's a worsted weight that I'm looking at. I would have enough to do like a full-on sweater or a cardigan or a blanket or pillows or something. So I think I'm going to save that. I might even just go buy another ball of the Scarfie yarn to do the surface crochet with. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably be going to the yarn store at some point this week. As for finished objects, unless you consider sleeves on a sweater a finished object, I don't have any, but that's okay. You'll probably keep seeing me play with something. It's a remote. I decided to use my remote for filming these videos, because then I don't have to like knock the camera accidentally or whatever. Anyways, can't just sit still. But yeah, no finished objects, but hopefully I will have something to share next week that is a finished object. So moving on to the Q&A portion of the podcast. I got in a question this past week, and it is, how did you learn to design your patterns? I love your designs. And first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for leaving that comment, because it really means a lot to me that, and it blows my mind that there are people out there who are interested in my patterns and in my designs. So thank you. As far as me learning how to design, it kind of started with me pattern testing. I followed a lot of different designers for crochet patterns, and I saw them doing tester calls, and I wanted to, I don't know, I thought it looked fun, and I wanted to support those designers, so I started with pattern tests. That kind of got my feet a little wet, and kind of got to see the behind the scenes of pattern writing and learn the different terminology and stuff that it takes to write a crochet pattern. And it also helped me see it from different viewpoints of different designers, because if you've bought any crochet pattern, you'll know that each designer kind of has their own style of writing and layout and way they communicate a pattern, even though we're all using a similar language and have kind of the similar like abbreviations and stuff. They're still going to be different. So the pattern testing helped me kind of see several different ways to do that, and then I kind of figured out my own voice and how I like to write patterns. I try to make them as close to whatever industry standards I can find, but I mean, it is what it is. Okay, I completely lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going. But yeah, pattern testing, that helped me figure out my style of wanting to write patterns. And if you are wanting to get into design, I highly recommend the Craft Yarn Council as far as finding kind of industry standards for measurements and abbreviations and terminology, that kind of thing. Also, I did take a class to design yoke sweaters, like circular yoke sweaters like this one. This construction is something I have been working on for about 2 or 3 years now, trying to figure it out. And it has taken me that long to figure it out. And it wasn't until I actually bought a knitting pattern until things started clicking. And I was working on making a sweater by Tin Can Knits. It is the Strange Brew sweater, and it's kind of cool because it's like a recipe style pattern, but it really helped me to understand the construction of the sweater and how to get from like point A to point B, because this was the part from the neckline to the end of the yoke was the part that was really throwing me off, and I was like, how the heck do you do that math and then fit like a pattern, like a color work chart into that? But that pattern really got me to kind of see things in a different way. So and then also listening to a lot of podcasts. Pretty much instead of TV, I am watching podcasts on YouTube, and primarily those are actually knitting podcasts. I know I crochet, or I design crochet patterns, but the knitting patterns have also been very helpful in me thinking of crochet designs, especially because like I like crochet that kind of mimics knitting, kind of like this sweater, and I have some more ideas for future patterns that kind of mimic knitting. Those knitting podcasts have been very helpful, so recommend checking some of those out. One of the ones I really like, and I think I might have mentioned it on maybe the first episode, is Andrea Mowry's I'll Knit If I Want To. Her whole podcast is pretty much questions that her followers have sent in, and they've just been really helpful. They've been helpful in me learning new things with the knitting, but they've also been helpful in kind of like the way I think about my crochet designs as well. So if you have a question that you would like to ask for the podcast, you can go ahead and send it to me. There is a link in the description below that will send you to a Google Forms, and that is where I'm going to start kind of gathering all the questions together so that they're all in one place and I know where to go find them. Ask me whatever you'd like. It can be about crochet and how to do something, or it can be about designing, or anything that's confusing. I don't know, whatever. And I will try to answer it on the next podcast. And then if I can't answer it on the next podcast, it'll for sure be within 2 podcasts. So I think that is it for today. Thank you for joining me on episode 5 of the 24 Threads podcast. And I will see you next time. Bye.